Womennow is brought to you by CalCoast Financial, Intero, Yup TV, Anil Gulati, Savan, Sea Bazaar, and El Camino Real Hospital.
Good morning, viewers. Welcome to Women Now. Thank you so much for joining us here today as we take you through a journey of the AIF Gala that recently happened at San Francisco Hilton.
The American India Foundation develops solutions to persistent challenges, working closely with local communities, partnering with NGOs to develop and test innovations, and advocating governments to ensure these solutions create sector-wide, sustainable impact through policy change. By focusing on high-impact interventions, the American India Foundation provides access to high-quality education, formal sector employment for urban youth and rickshaw drivers, and public health services to protect the well-being of mothers and their children while building the next generation of global leaders through service.
American India Foundation plays a significant role in shaping India's civil society, building sustainable methods to make sure that these communities take charge and are fully empowered to build their own futures.
Much like my children, AIF has grown from an insecure and audacious organization into a strong institution. Over the past 15 years, we have sown seeds of change, and ideas have flourished into waves of impact. We have seen a single computer lab in a classroom in 2001 evolve into the Digital Equalizer program, which this year has crossed the threshold of impacting 1 million students across 14 states. We have seen a single makeshift school made of cardboard boxes and aluminum at a migration workplace transform into the Learning and Migration program for over 330,000 children. And tonight, you will hear about how we are ensuring that 2.2 million children every year who don't make it past 5 years of life are getting a chance at life with our Mansi program. So much of what we do here at AIF is just that, identifying unique programs for the most marginalized in India that are scalable and providing the foundation to young people to have a chance, to have a hope at realizing their dreams. The communities we work in, the communities we build, are not just those in India. Tonight in this room, I see dozens of faces who have dedicated their resources to solving India's problems year after year. Our deepest gratitude to each and every sponsor at every level who have helped us get to our $1 million goal today. Thank you.
This is really special. I remember being at the Bay Area 8 years ago for a similar gala. And at that time, I knew very little about the organization. And I got to know more. I have gotten to know more in the last 8 years. I don't accept ambassadorships easily. I have only done, I'm only the Oxfam Global Ambassador apart from what I do with AIF. But the reason I did, I think is best explained in a story that I'm going to tell you. So it's 5:45 in the evening, and I'm sitting in the middle of a village called Rahitya Kheda in Amravati district near Nagpur, the center of India. It's one of the poorest districts in the country. They haven't had electricity ever. So come 5:45, and they start preparing for bed. They are so poor that only a few houses there can afford kerosene for a wick of a lamp by which they can spend the remaining of the evening. No politician has visited Rahitya Kheda village ever. Every 5 years, they are bussed to the election booth, made to stamp their thumbprint on a particular slot on a voting card, and bussed back. One of the biggest politicians of the country visited in the 70s, 8 kilometers away from Rahitya Kheda. They built an air-conditioned guest house for this politician in 8 days. And once the politician left, they demolished it. This is a village where the nearest dispensary is 20 kilometers away, but there is no road the last 20 kilometers. The nearest hospital even further. So when women are pregnant and in their third trimester, they choose not to go to the hospital because the chances of them hemorrhaging and dying on the way is very high. So they choose to risk giving birth to their children in the village. I'm sitting there, it's 5:45 in the evening, the sun's going down. I don't know whether any of you have in your mind some kind of picture of an Indian village. But let me tell you what this village looks like. Think of red, rocky, arid land. And I walked in there and said, where's the village? And it's just a row, 2 rows of bamboos, a piece of hessian, and a piece of hessian at the bottom, strung together, wind blown, and almost impossible to imagine that these are the houses. The village shop is one of those with 4 toffees, 5 pieces of mosquito repellent, and maybe an odd sachet of Pan Bahar. At 5:45, I've brought 65 solar lamps into that village. And for the first time in 65 years, as the sun goes down, they put on these solar lamps. And the women are ecstatic because now they say they can cook fresh food because they can see what they're doing and the family doesn't have to eat stale food. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the bottom 100 million. Out of 1.3 billion, this is the bottom 100 million. And they have nothing. And so where, as we all ask ourselves, where is this country going? And then something extraordinary happens. Without any tutoring, without any kind of encouragement, a woman starts to sing. Fairly tuneless, indecipherable. And another woman picks up that song. It's a folk song from that area. And 4 or 5 women begin to sing in broken voices. And one woman, as she does it, takes a little bit of oil into her hand and begins to plait her daughter's hair. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, you can ignore us, you can forget us, you can have collective amnesia about us, but we will not go gently into that night. We will have the emotional strength and the soul spirit to sing a song when we have nothing. To take a teaspoonful of oil and plait our daughter's hair. Because that's who we are. And that is never going to change.
5 years of giving a voice to your cause. 5 years of inspiring and empowering you to a better future. 5 years of bringing the South Asian perspective to this land of opportunity and liberty. 5 years of Womennow. Don't miss it every Saturday, 8:30 a.m. on KTSF, where we talk about sports, politics, fashion, food, health, and much, much more.
India, land of dynamic cultural traditions, exotic cuisines, ancient artistry, colourful handicrafts, memorable music, glamorous fashion, breathtaking dance, all at the bigger, bolder, best platform of San Francisco's Union Square. Be there on June 6th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. WesternUnion.com Spring India Day 2015 will fire your imagination, stir your soul and satisfy the hungry traveller in you. Brought to you by Womennow and Z Family.
You're watching America's first South Asian TV talk show, Womennow. Let's get back to the show.
And so when AIF came to me and said, will you accept the ambassadorship? And I understood that they work with rural migrant laborers in the brick kilns of Orissa. Or men and women jointly co-own cycle rickshaws in Guwahati in Assam. Or as I will talk about more tonight, mothers and newborn children are given a chance to survive and be healthy. When I heard of all the work Lata, Pradeep, Nishant, Ravi, and the entire team of AIF does, and all of you who have stayed the course, who will not leave, who understand that it takes 20 years for anything to change in a country of that magnitude. It's because of all of you in this room that I said, yes, this is something, I think, harking back to those villagers in Rahityakera, this is something that will truly mean something. So I just wanted to say that tonight you've seen and heard a lot of the work that AIF is doing. And I wanted to say that AIF's partnership model is one of its real assets, one of its real differentiators. You'll hear about Mansi, which is the Maternal and Newborn Survival Initiative. It's a public-private partnership. It's saving lives. It's ensuring a healthy start for mother and child. AIF partners not only with the best in the NGO sector, the private sector, and government, but the partnership extends down to local communities on the ground. It's my pleasure to introduce the following documentary, bringing this to life. Please have a look.
5,000 children under the age of 5 die every day in India, 20% of the world's total. To address this critical issue, the American India Foundation developed a seminal public-private partnership with Tata Steel, Dr. Abe Bong from Search, the local community, and local government. Through Mansi, AIF has empowered local women to become leaders in changing minds about accepting antenatal care, institutional deliveries, and early newborn care.
हमारे गांव में तो पहले सेप्सिस का एक केस मिला जो तीसरा और 7वां दिन तो अच्छा ही था जब 11वां दिन माधवी दीदी के गए उसके साथ गए तो ये उसका पेट फूला था और नाभि में मावा आ रहा था और 102 डिग्री बुखार था फिर सुबह शाम करके एक चौथाई करके 7 दिन पिलाएं फिर अभी बच्चा स्वस्थ है
Mansi has a universal appeal and it has brought smiles to hundreds of families. Mansi combines best practices in community engagement with home-based newborn and child care.
AIF trains and supervises Sahiyas comprehensively to treat the conditions threatening the first weeks of life and are now confident to handle even the most complicated cases.
If you build capacities of local resources, of last mile people, of barefoot doctors, you can create impacts, and you can create impacts which are sustainable, enduring, and even institutionalized.
The health literacy that is taught to these mothers becomes a guarantee, a passport to surviving the first 5 years of life.
जब से मैं सैया बनी हूँ तब से मृत्यु दर में कम हुआ है और सही तरह से मतलब प्रसव हो रहा और बच्चा भी अभी कोई भी बच्चा प्रॉब्लम नहीं है बच्चा को सही ट्रीटमेंट मिल रहा है और माँ भी सही समय पर टीका ले रही है और सही समय पर जांच भी करा रही है.
The most lasting impression of this project is the self-confidence and the capacities that we have built in local women.
गांव में सैया दीदी को रहने से अच्छा लगता है.
मेरे गाँव की कोई नहीं है कोई नहीं है गाँव में सैया जैसी गर्भवती महिलाओं को आंगनबाड़ी केंद्र पहुंचाने की सैया।
The two greatest impediments to giving, and I experienced this also, are one, where is my money going? And two, how much of it is going where it's supposed to? The first part has been answered this evening. You know where the money is going. All of you are believers, and you've seen the work AIF has done. The second question is as relevant to answer. How much of my money is going where it has to? I run my own foundation, so I know how difficult it is to keep your administration costs down to the minimum. Sometimes it's 10%, sometimes it's 25%. But in AIF, the cost that is absorbed out of all your money that is given, the money that they keep for their costs is zero. 100% of your money. 100% of your money goes to the initiatives because the board, Anjali, all of you, Lata, Pradeep, all of you, the board absorbs those costs. That is astonishing. I can tell you, I have never heard that before in any NGO. But why are we here? I want to tell you a tiny story. So my mother was ill for many years, from the age of about 35 for 10 years after that. And after a protracted illness that went up and down, she died. She was 45, and that was 28 years ago. The thing that I cannot forget when she died was my grandfather's face. It just broke. My grandmother and grandfather didn't last very long after that, because the heart had been ripped out of their lives. Can there be any greater sorrow than for a parent to see their child die? And that's why you're here. Because 75% of the 800,000 children who die in their first year in India die in the first 28 days. Women carry the baby for 9 months, and with that, gradually and hesitantly, they build a dream. They build an existence. It is completely natural for them to see a new life. And when that is taken away, in my case, my grandfather had my mother for 45 years. But in this case, in what we see, it's extinguished before pain can even register in the heart. If any of you have children or have family, friends, children, you will know exactly what I mean, especially, God forbid, if any of you have seen a child pass away in front of you. Please, that's where this money is going. It's going nowhere else. It's going to put back, to save, to resuscitate the dreams and the lives of men and women who otherwise don't have much. So please, do your best. Thanks.
5 years of giving a voice to your cause. 5 years of inspiring and empowering you to a better future. 5 years of bringing the South Asian perspective to this land of opportunity and liberty. 5 years of Womennow. Don't miss it every Saturday, 8:30 a.m. on KTSF, where we talk about sports, politics, fashion, food, health, and much, much more.
India, land of dynamic cultural traditions, exotic cuisines, ancient artistry, colourful handicrafts, memorable music, glamorous fashion, breathtaking dance, all at the bigger, bolder, best platform of San Francisco's Union Square. Be there on June 6th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. WesternUnion.com Spring India Day 2015 will fire your imagination, stir your soul and satisfy the hungry traveller in you. Brought to you by Womennow and Z Family.
You're watching America's first South Asian TV talk show, Women Now. Let's get back to the show.
Explain to me what is Mansi.
So Mansi is an initiative that's directed towards infant mortality and the health of moms, and it's a maternal and neonatal survival initiative.
Which means moms and babies who are at risk, they reduce the risk of moms and babies, right?
Correct. It's to promote the health of moms and infants. And in India, there's a lot of infant mortality. There's risks for babies to survive on basic things under the age of 5. So this program is really initiated to help the baby survive, really.
Now tell me, you're from India, right? And tell me a little bit about the work that you're doing in this space.
Primarily in India, we don't have very good access to the institutions. So our project Mansi primarily focuses on home-based neonatal care, because most of the deaths happens in the neonatal stage, which is the first month of a baby. So through this project, we train the community health workers like Sahiya Mamta, who is being trained on how to take care of a woman when she becomes pregnant. She gets all the basic services, and then when she delivers in an institution. She supports to have a delivery in an institution, and when the baby comes home after 48 hours being discharged, the baby is being taken care of at home. Particularly, the baby has to be properly breastfed, the baby's temperature has to be maintained. So these things, the Sahiya, she goes and makes a home visits. There is a protocol for home visits. There are 6 home visits, and she has to make those home visits and ensure that the baby's health is in proper condition.
That's so nice. Now, आपका टीम कितना बड़ा है इंडिया में? कितने लोग काम करते हैं इस एरिया में?
इंडिया का तो मतलब हमारे झारखंड में सरेगला प्रखंड में 200 से है।
तो आप रेगुलर विजिट्स करते हैं। आपको कैसे लग रहा है अभी यूएस में आके आपका जो इनिशिएटिव इंडिया में है, इतने सारे लोग आपको हेल्प कर रहे हैं, आपको फीलिंग कैसा होता है?
बहुत अच्छा, बहुत अच्छा। जब किसी शिशु को मतलब शिशु का जान बचाते हैं मरते हुए, उसको मतलब उसका बीमारी पहचान करके और उपचार भी करते हैं, और ज़्यादा बीमारी बढ़ जाने से हॉस्पिटल रेफर भी करते हैं और शिशु को बचाते हैं।
Wish you great luck. This is a cause which is very dear to me. I'm a mom and I have kids, and I cannot imagine there's any cause bigger than having a sick child and not having enough resources to treat the baby. So I think, this really touches me and my heart, and I'm sure our viewers will find out more about Mansi and the cause and turn to your website to find more information to come and help you.
Yes, absolutely. The website will have information on Mansi. That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, viewers, I hope you learned a little bit about what you can do to give back to those lives who need you. And we learned a lot about AIF as well. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Till then, you know what to do. Think about giving.